Let's start by telling you that Nigerian-born British politician Kemi Badenoch has emerged leader of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, succeeding Rishi Sunak as leader of the opposition, the first person of African heritage to lead the party. The Conservative Party announced a victory on Saturday after the 44-year-old politician beat Robert Jenrick at the end of a 4-month contest following the resignation of Sunak. The election was said to have witnessed a turnout of 72% of members who voted.
Candidates will ever. The task that stands before us is tough but simple. Our first responsibility as His Majesty's loyal opposition is to hold this Labour government to account. Second is no less important. It is to prepare over the course of the next few years for government, to ensure that by the time of the next election, we have not just a clear set of Conservative pledges that appeal to the British people, but a clear plan for how to implement them. A clear plan to change this country by changing the way that government works. The Prime Minister is discovering all too late the perils of not having such a plan. Our party is critical to the success of our country. But to be heard, we have to be honest. Honest about the fact that we made mistakes. Honest about the fact that we let standards slip. The time has come to tell the truth.
Ms. Badenoch was born on January 2nd, 1980 in Wimbledon, London, but spent her childhood in Lagos, Nigeria, in the United States and returned to the UK at the age of 16. She studied computer engineering, system engineering at University of Sussex and graduated with a Master of Engineering degree in 2003. She also studied law on part-time at Birkbeck University of London, graduating as Bachelor of Laws in 2009. Her career began as a software engineer at Logica from 2003 to 2006 and worked as Associate Director at Cout from 2006 to 2013 and as Digital Director for The Spectator from 2015 to 2016. In politics, she joined the Conservative Party in 2005 and contested the Dulwich and West Norwood constituency in the 2010 general election. Badenoch was elected to the London Assembly in 2015, elected as the Conservative Party candidate for Saffron Walden in 2017 general election, and appointed as Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Children and Families in July 2019. She was also appointed as the Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury and Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State in February 2020, appointed as Secretary of State for International Trade and President of the Board of Trade in September 2022 under Sunak as Prime Minister. And to unpack this, we're joined by Godson Azu, a political analyst. Good evening, glad to have you join me on the news.
Good evening, it's my great pleasure, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you this evening.
All right, let's talk about what factors you think could have propelled Kemi Badenoch to victory today as UK Conservative Party leader.
Well, I think this is a very great historic moment for many of us here in the UK. It's a time for us to actually also have a good reflection on the height we have gotten to in politics across the board. And as we move from an ancient British political leader of the Conservative Party, former Prime Minister, to an African British, Nigerian British new Conservative Party leader and a potential Prime Minister of the future. I think Kemi has built her political career on a steady pace from 2005 to 2010, 2010 to 2017, and when she entered the parliament. And she has been able to culture herself in a way that she built her political understanding and lineage around the conservative core values and the traditions, conservative beliefs. And I think for her being able to taking time to tutor herself within these clear core values of the Conservative Party, which actually is one of the building blocks of the Conservative family, both those who are party members and those who are Conservative voters. She's been able to use that clear-cut understanding to buy her way through over the years, and this has shown up in her conversations. This has shown up in her ability to carry people along in her communication skill, trying to engage people with the reality of things, basically, and being able to be open and honest. But in fact, it's difficult to be open and honest in politics. But she has been able to prove that level of characteristics, which I believe if she is able to mold herself around that very well, she has a very strong footing to build a new, strong conservative energy for the next coming general election in the next 5 years' time. But the fact is that she's been able to tutor herself on what conservative is all about in terms of the conservative tradition values, the issue of family value, the issue of education, the issue of British cultural heritage, and being able to engage people based on the fact that she's not a pure English person, but having been born here in the United Kingdom and having spent time across the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, spending a couple of times in Nigeria, gaining some African cultural values also, and then spending a couple of time in the US, has been able to mold our understanding of global ideas, and also making that together with his conservative understanding has given her an edge over most of the competitors to be the leader of the Conservative Party.
Oh, all right. I mean, talking about British cultural heritage, which you referenced, with this feat now, Badenoch has broken the so-called glass ceiling. But do you see her emergence as a sign of being accepted among British populace?
Yeah, I think obviously she's going to, she in her statement, her acceptance statement, she said this is going to be a tough moment, but an easy task ahead. But I think it's it's going to be a tougher challenge for her, because she needs to do more now to convince the divide. There's already a divide in the Conservative Party. And some of us who have been following the Conservative Party in the last couple of years knows that there is an issue when Rishi Sunak became the Conservative leader and party. There is this cultural divide. There's this issue between the English and the inheritance English people, such as the Asian African, the Asian British or African British or Canadian British in the party, and being a leader of the political party. Because it's important to know that Conservative Party is one of the oldest political structures still existing in modern day politics. And for you to emerge through that structure to become the leader from outside the English factor is not an easy task. And so Rishi Sunak has been able to play his role, and eventually he's been played out of the system. And I hope that Kemi will be able to learn from the mistakes of Sunak, the mistakes that he has been able, he fought through, which have led to the loss of the Conservative majority in the House, and also the divide of the majority voters of the Conservative Party up and down the United Kingdom. And so she needs to build the blocks. She needs to work hard to build back the building blocks of the divide in the party, and then the divide among the general British voters who have lost faith and confidence in the Conservative Party in terms of their openness to reality of things, and in terms of being able to tell the people the actual facts
Now, talking about bridging the divide, yeah, just chip in there, following your line of thought, Mr. Azu. You talked about her need to bridge the gap within the Conservative Party. Definitely, she has opposition even among the Conservatives. How do you think she can play her politics to remain in the good books of majority of the Conservatives?
Well, if she needs to remain, I mean, obviously there are about three divides in the Conservative now. There are those who are a bit more on the far right, and there are those who are believing to be in the center right, and they are the traditionalists. And so most people want the Conservative to move away from both the far right and the traditionalists to the center point, where it begin to build blocks with the modern day thinking of political strands and economic theories and practicality that can bring about an economic prosperity and development of the United Kingdom, of which Kemi needs to begin to look at this different divide in the party. She needs to have a listening ear. Most important now is having a listening ear, being open to hear from both sides. And at the same time, she needs to also be willing to focus to unite the party rather than trying to be all alone area of the problem and challenges of the party by herself and a clique of group of cabinet members or advisors or whatever. She needs to understand that the Conservative needs an extra 200 MPs to be able to gain another majority to have to take over government in the next 4.5 years to come. And so between now and the next 4 years, she needs to begin to work within the party, work outside the party, gain her more interest, more loyalty, more confidence, more trust, and gain a more opportunity with the generality of British voters, and avoid being an accidental Conservative Party leader that would not last up to the next general election, because all eyes are on her, not only based because she's an African British or Nigerian British politicians, but also because she's historically one of the first African British female party leader of the Conservative Party, one of the biggest and the oldest political institution in the UK and even across Europe and around the world. And all eyes on her, on how she's going to be able to challenge the party in government and the Labour Party in issues of the economy, issues of immigration, issues of gender equality, issues of education, the healthcare. And she needs to come up with policies that would gender the mind of the British people, the policies that the all-inclusiveness of the Conservative Party will buy into and be able to support her while she's challenging and proposing or defending such policies on the floor of the House of Commons. Because if she can't get that support of the 121 members she has already in the House, it's going to be difficult for her to be able to convince the rest, generality of the members of the party to be able to gain candidates that will stand for elections in the next 4 years to be able to generate that almost 200 extra MPs to be able to have the majority.
Talking about elections there, apologies for botany, you talked about elections as something quite interesting. What are the chances, what are the odds or favour for her? Does this position have to become British Prime Minister one day?
Like I mentioned earlier, it's a tough one. It's a tough one for her. One, she's a woman of color. Two, she's a female leader of one of the most dynamic political institutions in the world. And her ability to be able to navigate the differences within the party in terms of her personality, in terms of the people she brings around her to work with her in order to galvanize the party back to reality for electionary purposes it's going to be a tough ride, because for her to be able to build the blocks, to create the confidence and trust of people up and down the UK, to be able to have that conservative value strand on any candidate that stands in for elections come the next 4 years in the United Kingdom, it's going to be tough, because you keep the other parties that are really already made ground with the last election are not going to give up easily to the Conservative Party to have their way at the next election. So she needs to work seriously to get back all those who left the Conservative Party to other political parties to contest election at the last election, reforms the Reform Party, those that left into the Social Democrat, those that left to become independent, those that actually left to a Labour at a point. She needs to begin to work, because this could be the same people who can win the actual vote in their constituencies to be able to regain some of the numbers that she needs to win election.
And
to
that's
win
a
election
fine place.
and become a prime minister in the United Kingdom, it's not about you alone winning your own constituency. It's about you making sure that every individual that you have brought together within the party to contest election are able to deliver their constituencies. And for them to deliver, they need you to give a very strong position of the party. You need to stand on that trust of that position of the party to the general voters.
And that's a fine place to wrap up.
If she cannot convince the generality of voters, and even within her party, then it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. 200 MPs is not a joke.
I wish we had more time. We're pressed for time, but thank you so much for your insight on the news. Godson Azu, political analyst.
Thank you very much. We all celebrate Kemi Badenoch for her victory. We wish her all the best. Some of us who are here from the Nigerian stock, and most of us are from Africa, we look forward to celebrate her. We look forward to join her in this great success of the future, and hopefully one day we'll have a woman of color, just as the Americans are struggling to have at the moment, a woman of color become the first prime minister of the United Kingdom. So
Many thanks.
Thank you very much for this purpose, and I look forward to being on your show again. Thank you very much. My great pleasure.